note here is if you don't pay your credit card minimum payment by your due date and your closing date, then you incur a charge or an interest. As time goes on, you want to expand your credits, not unnecessarily but very necessarily, because if you have a lot of credit lines and you're not able to make the payments on time, then that goes against your credit score. One way scammers get your credit card is through your friends. Welcome to the channel where education meets adventure and passions are transformed into lifelong lessons. Excel with Emmy. Hi guys, welcome back to Excel with Emmy. On this channel, we talk about career, education, lifestyle. If these are subjects that are of interest to you, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notification for this channel. On today's video, we are talking about introduction to the American credit system, credit cards, and everything you should know. This purposely will be very useful if you are an international student. When I got to the United States, one thing that I regret not doing or not knowing so much about is the credit system, the credit cards, and how to get a good credit score. And that is why I don't want you to go through this, and I'm creating this video so that you will be mindful from scratch. If you have been here for a month, that's fine. From scratch, you'll be mindful and know how to go about things when it comes to the credit score or credit cards in the US. To start a credit journey, you need a social security number. So the social security number, you are able to get a social security number or the card when you have an employment in the US. So as a student, it can be a part-time job, graduate assistantship, teaching assistantship, anything that will give you an offer letter you can use to secure your social security card. So now that you have gotten an employment, you have gotten your social security card, then you go ahead to look at some of the things that you have to do to build your credit score. And one major thing you have to do to build your credit score as an international student is securing a credit card. First of all, let's look at what a credit score is. A credit score is how likely you are to pay a loan on time or an amount of money on time. Basically, this is what determines your credit score. And then as an international student, like I said, the main thing that you can do to start building a credit score is securing a credit card. Now, let's look at the types of credit card that we have. A credit card can be secured or unsecured credit card. The only difference between a secured credit card and an unsecured credit card is that for a secured credit card, you need to make a deposit, which serves as a collateral for you to get a credit card. And so if you default the payments, then you lose your deposit. If you're able to make the payments, then definitely your deposit can be given back to you. So that's the only difference between a secured credit card and an unsecured credit card. Now let's delve deeper into the credit score. What is a good credit score? So the credit score ranges from 300 to 800. A good credit score is from 670 to 740. Above 740 to 800 is a very good credit score, and then anything between 800 to 850 is an excellent credit score. Why is your credit score very important? Your credit score determines a lot of things you do in this country. That is, if you are looking to stay in the United States for a longer period of time, then you have to start now and keep a very good credit score. And so when you are buying a house, which is when you are securing a mortgage, you need a good credit score. If you are buying a car after school, you need a good credit score. If you are even getting a phone on credit, you need a good credit score. And so that is why the credit score, the credit system, is a very important part of the credit structure in the US. What makes up a good credit score? 1. Your payment history. 2. Credit utilization. 3. The length of your credit history. 4. The mix of your credit cards or the mix of your credit lines. And then 5 is new credits. I'm going to explain this in a minute. So first of all, let's talk about your payment history. Your payment history makes up 35% of your credit score. So the payment history, like we said, or as the name suggests, is how likely you are able to pay your credits on time, right? And so when it comes to the payment history, you want to make sure that you are making your payments on time. Credit utilization, this forms 30% of your credit score. And credit utilization is how often you are using your credit card. And so when you have a credit card, there is something called a credit line, which is basically the amount of money you have on the credit card. And so, for example, if you are getting a credit card for the first time, then you might get a credit of about 2,000, depending on which credit card you are going for. The 2,000 become your credit line. And so what is a good practice for your credit utilization? A good practice is that you want to keep your spending under 30% of your credit line. And so let's say I have a credit card that has a credit line of 2,000, then it means that I have to spend $600 or less for a good credit score. And then if I have, let's say, a credit card of $1,000, then I want to spend $300 or less for a good credit score. And then to get a very good credit score with credit utilization, then you want to spend under 10% of your credit score. The length of your credits, it forms 15% of your credit score. And this is not something you can really control, right? So it's like how old your credit cards are, how old your mortgage is, how old your credit lines are, basically. And so it's a mixture of the age of your credit lines. The fourth one is the credit mix, which forms 10% of your credit score. This also you have minimal control over, because the mix of your credit score can be that you have a credit card, you have mortgage, you have car payments to make. But as an international student, the main credit line that you have is a credit card. And so that's what I'm saying, you have minimal control over. But as time goes on, you want to expand your credits, not unnecessarily but very necessarily, because if you have a lot of credit lines and you're not able to make the payments on time, then that goes against your credit score. Let's talk about where you can find your credit score. So as an international student, I'm sure you are trying to get a credit card, or you have opened your bank account, which is one of the basic things that you have to do when you have arrived in the US. So to get your credit score, you can go on the app of the credit card that you are using, and then you find your credit score on there. That is how you track it. And then your bank, your local bank, if you have an app, you go on the app, you can also find your credit score there. The only disadvantage is that you get to see your credit score usually after 6 months of starting the credit journey, right? And so you can see it until 6 months. But the good thing is that there's something called Credit Karma. It's a credit system company, a licensed credit system company that helps you to see your credit system from scratch. And like I was saying, one regret for me is not tracking my credit system or how my credit score was going, to make sure what am I supposed to do better. And so if you are now starting the journey, I will encourage you that you go and apply for the Credit Karma. It will ask you for your details, create an account, and start tracking your credit card journey there. I'm going to add a link to the description of this video, so you can just click on it and then create the account. One thing about the new credits is that opening a lot of new credit lines within a short period of time hurts your credit score. Let's talk about your credit history and credit utilization. How are you able to keep a very good credit score? You have to take two dates very important, or there are very two important dates that you want to keep in mind. So the payment due date. The payment due date is usually 21 days after your credit or your payment cycle. And so the due date is when you are supposed to pay your bill, like the amount due. Let's say I have a credit card of $1,000, right, with a credit line of $1,000, and like I've said, I'm practicing good credit system, so I have used $300 on this credit card this month. So and my due date is 21st of September, it means that by 21st of September I should pay this $300. The good practice is that you pay this 1 to 2 days before your due date, which is because it takes about 24 to 48 hours for your payment to go through, so that you make time for the processing, and then it ends up right on your due date. You also want to make sure you're not paying your bills late, because mind you, this makes 35% of your credit score. So this is something you really have control over. Another date you want to be mindful of is the closing date. The closing date is the last date on your credit cycle. So let's say my due date is 21st September. The closing date will be the last date on my credit cycle. You want to be mindful of this because if you have bills to pay or if you have different credit lines, then you want to make sure that even if you don't have money, then you have to pay minimum payments by the closing date, because the closing date is the date after which your credit history for the month is transferred or given to the credit bureau, which is the institution that calculates your credit. So you want to make sure that you are making your payments latest by your closing date, so that they don't transfer the amount you owe to the credit bureau. The notes here is, if you don't pay your credit card minimum payment by your due date and your closing date, then you incur a charge or an interest. So that's why these two dates are very important. The good thing is some credit cards have minimum payments. So even if you don't have the full amount, let's say like the example that I used, $300, right? I had $300 to pay. Even if I don't have money and my minimum payment is like $50, then I can pay that $50 and I don't incur any charge, or it doesn't affect my credit. You just want to be mindful of how many minimum payments you are making, because that is not a good habit, but it doesn't hurt your credit score if you are doing it once or twice. Another thing you want to take note of credit card is some credit cards give cashback bonuses, or give bonuses in general. Cashback bonuses, as the name suggests, they give you cashback on whatever spendings you have made on the credit card. And so personally, I would recommend, or what I use is the Discover Student Cashback Credit Card. I will link the link to the credit card in the description of this video. Discover is a very good credit card. I'm going to give you the advantages of Discover in a minute. So before you try to get a credit card, try to read about the card. What is their interest rate? Is there an annual rate? And like I said, I'm recommending Discover because Discover doesn't give annual rates. Why am I using a credit card and I still have to pay an annual rate? But the credit card that makes you pay an annual rate comes with other perks, and I don't think I need these perks. As an international student, I don't think you need these perks either. So Discover would be a good way to start a credit journey in the United States. I'm sure somebody has recommended it to you already. The good thing about Discover is that there is a referral program, and so if you use the link to my Discover, I get $100, or I think if it has increased, I'm not sure, and you also get $100. And then once you have also gotten the credit card, you can also refer a friend refers a friend. Some of the advantages or some of the reasons I'm recommending Discover is that it's a good beginner for credit, and then you don't make any annual payments. It gives you 5% cashback quarterly bonuses, 1% unlimited cashback on all purchases, and then the referral program, and then 100% cashback match. So at the end of your first year, if you got like $50 cashback, then you get they match it as 100% and give that money back to you. So these are some of the good things about using the Discover credit card that you want to consider. There are other credit cards like Capital One and other ones. Even your local bank may have a credit card. While I bring this video to an end, I want to also let you know that your credit line is not fixed. Let's say you have gotten a credit card for the first time and your credit is, let's say, 2000. Is not fixed, right? It increases over time. So after 6 months, your credit line may change, and then you can also apply for a credit increase or credit line increase. The good thing about this is that if your credit increases and your expenses stay the same, it means that you are spending less of or you are making less credit utilization, which helps your credit score go higher. Another way to increase your credit line is taking multiple credit lines. Like if I have Discover, I can go for a Macy's credit card, I can take Capital One. But like I said in the beginning of this video, you don't want to take so much credit lines that you begin to default or make late payments. The last thing I want to talk about is, after you have started this credit journey, there is going to be a lot of offers in your mails, a lot of emails about getting a credit card. Don't fall for these unsolicited credit offers. Make sure you are making conscious decisions on what credit card you need. If you are making so much purchases in a store and you decide to take a credit card, that makes sense. Don't take a credit card because the company reached out to you through an email or any other thing. Also, be mindful of who you give your credit card to as an international student. When we came at first, one of the challenges we face is people in Ghana asking, hey, I wanted to make this payment online and I needed a credit card, but I don't have a credit card. The one way scammers get your credit card is through your friends. So you want to be mindful of who you are giving your credit card to. I hope that there's a lot about the credit system we are learning. There's a lot about the credit system you'll have to learn, and it sounds so difficult to understand. I hope that this video at least try to be an opener or a guide for you to understand the basic credit system in the United States. And so thank you for watching. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on notification for this channel. Let's cruise together.